go, beautiful weather.
Oh man, what is it? It's like in the 70s, and actually today is actually colder. Yesterday was like 82, 85.
That's true.
Craziness, man. I felt like I was back in Miami.
Yeah, calm down finally. Calm down finally.
Yeah.
So we're excited to be here again and to take this moment to talk to you guys about real estate. As you know, my name is Martin. I have Ed, I have Michael, and we're just here to be a resource for you guys. So today's special episode is going to be submitting a winning offer in this competitive market. As we can see, it's rough. You know, before we even went live right now, we have different clients and we're submitting offers, and sometimes they're not getting picked and they're above the asking price, and we want to share why we think this is happening and what does it mean to those that do want to buy a house here in the Bay Area market.
So we're going to go over, I've got 7 elements to a winning bid. Okay.
Oh man, I thought you were gonna have 9. I'm disappointed.
7's a lot already. I'll start off with the first one. Obviously, it's price. That's a no-brainer. The higher the price, the better it is. But highest price does not always win, because there are 6 other elements that we can talk about. The second one is a financing profile. I don't know, Ed, if you want to talk about this?
Yeah, I mean, today more than ever, I used to talk about rates and this and what I think trends are. Look, the bottom line is terms really matter today. I think it's even more important than rate. So let's say you're out there shopping for rate and you want to shave off, 25 cents off your rate, but they're not giving you good terms. Good luck. You're going to have a better rate, but you're not going to have a house. What does that mean? That you can get a better rate, but if the lender's not going to close fast and put that in writing so that when you put in offers with these 2 great guys, they're not going to accept your offer. So you're going to have a better rate, but you're not going to have a house. So what's really, really important, more so than rate today, and I'm not saying, get a super higher rate just because you're going to get better terms. What I'm saying is get a competitive rate, but get even more competitive terms, meaning you need to close in 2 to 3 weeks. None of this 30 days, 45 days. I can't even believe there's lenders out there that are going to close in 45 days. How are you still in business in this market? It's insane. I mean, we're talking about, I know one client who, it wasn't a client of mine, actually from another agency, $1.1 million over the asking price. That person has way too much money. First off, too much money, too little common sense. But either way, this is the kind of insanity that's going on out there. So if you're going to compete with somebody like that, well, you probably won't. But let's just say that they're putting in 15, 25, and we're even seeing 30 to 40% over asking. Your terms better be really good, because you're going to be competing with people who have cash. It used to be 40% of all deals were all cash. That's come down a bit, which gives you an opportunity to compete. You meaning the person who's going to get a loan, but we better be quick. That's why I always call myself the ninja of real estate or of mortgage financing, because the truth is that's all that matters is really speed.
Yes. So there's price and there's financing profile. So of course, all cash is better than financed. That doesn't mean that all cash always wins. In fact, there are some cases where all cash doesn't win, and that comes back to the financing profile.
Yeah, I've had it happen to me a few times where I actually won all, with financing, I beat all cash. Why? Because it was going to take them a bit longer to get the cash, because maybe, the cash is coming from overseas, that sort of thing. One thing I just want to mention really, really quick is that one of the strategies that I'm recommending if you do have all cash is go ahead, submit all cash offer to win the offer. But then we have something called delayed financing, which means that you can take the down payment money out within 6 months after you bought all cash. That way you don't have all that cash just sitting in the freezer of that house. And what I mean is all that equity in there, because there is an opportunity cost. You can put that money to better use in other things. Don't just have all cash in the house.
To the third point.
So the third point is what I call the contingencies. We've got appraisal, inspection, and loan contingency. Now, what does that mean? Now, you make an offer on a property the seller accepts, and let's say it's $1 million. Now, in the contract, it says that you have to put down what's customarily a 3% initial deposit. So it's $30,000, okay? Now, let's say we go through escrow. Your escrow is going to take 30 days, but you say, hey, whoa, I want to inspect the property first. So I want an inspection contingency. I want 7 days to bring in my own person to do home inspection and pest inspection. If you find anything wrong during that time, if you've got an inspection contingency in place, you can say, you know what, I'm canceling the contract, I don't like what I found. You can take your deposit back, cancel the contract, walk away, no harm done. Okay, that's your inspection contingency. Now, we've got also appraisal and loan. Did you want to talk about that, Martine?
Yeah, so, and you could probably add to it as well. When you do have a loan to buy a home, you need to speak with your lenders and have the agent that you're working with, and find out if that's a requirement from the lending side as well. Because you need to have an appraiser to come by and see if the property is actually worth the loan amount that you're getting. And there's also terms that how quick can we remove this loan contingency as well. And maybe you could explain better from the more what is actually happening during that time period for the loan contingency to be removed.
So let me just step back a little bit in time, saying that the reason why loan contingencies were created is because the mortgage industry set itself up where the loan officer does an initial best efforts pre-qualification. You then, with that, go put in offers. Once your offer is accepted, then the real underwriting happens, because the file, meaning all your documents and the new contract showing that your offer's been accepted, gets submitted to the underwriter. The underwriter is the final decision maker here. But if you think about that, and that's why, by the way, it takes 30 to 45 days traditionally for most lenders out there, but if you think about it, that's kind of a little bit backwards. The truth is, you should do everything up front, get fully approved, get a loan commitment, so then you can close in 2 to 3 weeks, which is how we do. We call ourselves an upfront shop, meaning we want all your stuff up front, get it over with. That way you're gonna get a real loan commitment so that you can place an offer with better terms, meaning 2 to 3 week close, and then you're off to the races. So technically, when we're done and we issue that loan commitment letter, there really isn't a loan contingency because your loan is already there. Now, let me park that for a second. If you're buying a condo, we still have to vet the homeowner association. And believe me, there's a lot of homeowner associations that are not ran really well. You know, they might have more than 15% delinquencies on the dues. They might have a greater than 25% commercial concentration. There's a lot of little rules, okay? I'm not gonna bug you with those or have you memorize them, but we're still gonna have to vet that. But let's just say that you're buying a home, okay? And this is where the gloves come off. If you're buying a single family property, this is where team really matters, because one of the things that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have a discussion with them saying, okay, listen, I know we need to go in there with really excellent terms. My loan is good. We're good to go. You don't even have to go in with a loan contingency. We can just remove that right away. But we still have an appraisal contingency. And I'm gonna ask these guys, tell me, from you kicking the tires, is there gonna be a problem with either the property itself and or the value? If they tell me, because they vetted the property, which they will, really good, they said, Ed, this property is just awesome. There's no problem here. There might be, I don't know, $1,000 worth of pest. There's nobody gonna care about $1,000 on pest, especially here in San Francisco. Then I'll say, you know what? We have a consensus here, and this is gray area, by the way, right? We have a consensus here because we're the professionals that you can lift the appraisal contingencies. Let's go in there like ninjas and let's just remove them all and let's close this thing. But be aware that if something comes up and the appraiser says, wait a second, there's dead bodies in this other room that nobody saw and there's problems, then that could be a problem. But that's why team and us talking, because there's some gray areas in transactions. Believe me, every transaction is different. It's like shoe sizes, right? Where we have to talk it out as a team so that we can not only be competitive for you, but we can be all on the same page. Because sometimes you do have to take a little bit of risk and say, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and lift the appraisal contingency. Because sometimes, just really quickly, you don't mean to hog this, but this is important.
Yeah, come on, Ed.
Let's just say that the property's for $1 million, but the appraisal comes back at 980, right? As a lender, we only lend on the appraised value, so 980 is it. So you have 3 options at that point. One, the most popular one is what? We go back and renegotiate, right, with the seller. 2 is you decide to pay the difference in cash. In this case, it's 20 grand, right, in this example. Or 3, you walk. Those are the 3 options. But we all know that in this market, walking away is probably not a good thing, because the next time you put in another offer, look, properties are going up. How quickly are properties going up in value here? Every 2 weeks? Every month?
Yeah,
I mean,
every
it's
month, every
insane.
2 weeks, every month.
So the opportunity cost of time is tremendous. You don't want to waste any time. All right, I'll let you guys take it.
So, and just staying on what we were just talking about right now, I'm gonna quote Michael Young and say that it's better to pay a little bit more now than pay a lot more later. And as he just said, property values are going up. We saw things slow down or, stop going up in price around November, December.
Yeah.
Once January and February came around, things were back to selling between 15 to 20% above asking. Today, I'm looking at comps, comparable homes to homes that we're submitting offers to. Things are going 30 to 40% above asking. And we're in May, first week of May. So in 5 months, it went from things selling at asking price, a little bit above 5 to 10. The first 2 months, 15 to 20%, and now we're at 30, even 40% above asking. So it's okay to pay, in my opinion, a little bit more now, because in 3-5 months, the value is gonna go up again. And now you're gonna be, instead of submitting an extra $10,000, you might be bidding an extra $50,000.
And by the way, that extra 10 to 20 grand, how much is it gonna be as an increase to your monthly, payment? Not much. And I will tell you something, the first 7 to 8 years of any mortgage is going to be mostly interest. So the truth is that extra 20 grand that you pay, it's gonna be pretty much all interest that you're gonna deduct anyway. So look at it from a big wide angle lens. Don't get so caught up in the minutia, like I'm not paying 20 grand. Well, you're going to pay it one way or another. You're either gonna continue to rent and pay the landlord's mortgage and not have tax write-offs, or you're gonna pay the extra 20 grand, which is very little add to your monthly payment.
So bringing it all back around to talk about the contingency. So we've talked about price. The higher the better, of course. Okay, financing profile. Cash is better, but it doesn't always win. Now the 3 contingencies is inspection, appraisal, and loan, right? Now, as Ed said, something happens on appraisal, it appraises for lower than your purchase price, it's on you to take that cash out of your pocket to make up that difference. That's why their appraisal contingencies are available. Loan contingency, it's not a guarantee that you're gonna get the loan while you go through underwriting. In fact, there are some people out there who have done some really, truly irresponsible things during the loan underwriting process. For instance, they go out and they buy a Mercedes-Benz on credit. What happens to their credit during that time, Ed?
Well, 2 things are gonna happen. Number 1, you're gonna take a 5 to 22 point hit on that new credit inquiry that Mercedes-Benz financed it when they pulled your credit, so that's number 1. And number 2 is the greater debt is going to raise your debt to income ratio, which we do have maximums, and that's just not my bank, that's the whole industry, and guess what? You just shot over it and you don't have a loan now.
So yeah, be responsible during the loan underwriting process. Don't go out and make any crazy purchases. But those are the 3 contingencies. Now, those contingencies are there to protect you.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, in San Francisco, your competitors who are bidding on the property that you want, a lot of them are going to waive all 3 contingencies. Okay, they're willing to take the risk because they want that property bad enough that they're going to waive all 3. Okay, so those are the top 5. Now, the number 6 and number 7, number 6 is your personal statement. It's an optional thing. You can write that to make yourself stand out from other folks. Introduce yourself, talk about why you want the property, talk about why it's important, talk about how appreciative you are of the seller who prepared that property for sale. Okay, that can sometimes make or break your bid. Now the last one, number 7, I'll touch on it briefly, but I'm not going to tell you because that's our secret. That's the Anthony Navarro group. It's our negotiating strategy. We do something during negotiations offline with the listing agent that most other agents don't do. And I'm not going to give you that secret today. If you want to find out, you're going to have to call us directly.
I like that. And the other thing, the number 6 that you said, which I as a mortgage person fully endorse, and I've seen it, and I haven't seen it. And when it's not there, the chances of the offer not getting accepted are super high. And when it's there, the chances are really great, which is having what I call the why letter. You draft it with these 2 guys. Why do you want that property? I mean, you got to get emotional. Understand that real estate is an emotional transaction, unless you're in commercial real estate, where nobody gives a rip. All they care about are GRMs, gross rent multipliers, and cap rates, right? But when it comes to residential, if you're buying a house, a residential meaning 1 to 4 units, it's an emotional thing. and not just on your side as the buyer, but also on the seller side. You'd be surprised how something you said in that letter, that you both went to a certain university or whatever, or you both had similar backgrounds of how you came up in the world and all the obstacles you overcame, that triggers it, and they accept your offer. Do not minimize writing what I call the why letter. It's very important.
Sets you apart.
It really does. Anything else before we wrap?
So,
That's all I got.
Do you have any questions? Who's on there? What
leave
we
them
got?
in the comments, and we'll get back to you.
Yeah, give us some comments. Remember, also give us in your comments, give us some topics that you want to cover. I mean, we could talk all day long, as you can tell, but we want to do this for you, and we want to customize it for the topics that are piquing your curiosity. Whatever it is, real estate related, let us know. And in future shows, just so you know, we're going to start to interview other professionals, such as tax professionals, to talk about some tax strategies and tax benefits that maybe you didn't think about. Like, what is deductible? Like, most people don't know that mortgage insurance is deductible up to $109,000 of AGI. What does that mean? You'll see it in another episode. All right, guys.
Have a
Please
good
share,
one.
give us some feedback. We'll be in touch.
Woohoo!